Okay, so welcome to Math 117. This is mathematical problem solving. So this is a college level math course that is a prerequisite for nothing, right? So just want to make sure everybody knows what you're starting here. If you just need one college level math class, this is the place to be. If you need to continue on and take some more math classes, chat with me after class and we'll make sure you get into the right math class. My name is Caitlin. This is my favorite class to teach at GCC, and I haven't taught it for 2 years, so I'm really excited. And I think you guys will really like it. It's really fun. It's really different than any math class you've taken before, probably. So I think what we should do is we're just going to jump right into our first lesson, and then we'll come back to the syllabus a little bit partway through it. So the way I run the lessons is I gave you this big packet. The first page looks like this, right? So if you turn to page 11, just take one of each thing, yeah, just not these yet. Okay, so you see on page 11, it says class number 1 in the upper right-hand corner. So that's today. All the pages before that are either reference pages that are sort of summaries of things that we're going to be covering, or just helpful little grids and stuff that will help you do your homework so that you don't have to do so much writing. When one of those things pops up, I'll tell you, oh, that's that grid that you could use is on the front page of your packet, something like that. Okay, so our first major topic of this year is voting. And it turns out that there's a lot more to voting than whoever gets the most votes wins, right? There's a lot more mathematics to it. So we're going to learn 4 different ways to decide if the outcome of an election was fair. And we're going to conclude the topic of voting by exploring the consequences of something called Arrow's impossibility theorem. And I'm going to skip that PDF thing. We're going to introduce the mathematics of voting with a tasty example here. Okay, so just each of you at your seats, I want you to rank these flavors of ice cream first, second, and third. Vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. Individually, what's your first, second, and third choice? All right, so I'm going to rank mine. Let's see. Mine is strawberry. Oops. Go back. Strawberry. Chocolate. Vanilla. Okay, so that's just my personal preference. Okay. So our job now is to determine which of the flavors wins according to our class vote. Okay, so I'm going to count how many first place votes each flavor got. Okay. And this is called the plurality method, when you just count first place votes. And the candidate that gets the most first place votes is called the plurality candidate. Okay, so just raise your hand really high if you put vanilla in first place. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we're going to put an 8 next to vanilla. All right, and first place for chocolate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, put a 9 next to chocolate. And then first place for strawberry. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus me makes 5. Okay, so how many people voted total? 22. Yeah, 8 and 9 is 17, plus 5 is 22. So I'm just going to put this over here so we have that in our brains. Who won this election? Chocolate. Chocolate got the most first place votes. Okay. If one candidate gets more than half the first place votes, we call that candidate a majority candidate. Did we have a majority candidate in this ice cream example? No. How many first place votes would someone have to get a majority? 12, yeah. So a majority means more than half, right? So total, there were 22 voters. Half would be 11. So to have more than half, you would need 12 votes. Okay, so no, we did not have a majority candidate here. And how many votes would we have needed? 12, right? How many votes would we need to have a majority if there were 49 students in the class? 25. What if there were 50 students? 26, yeah. Just more than half, right? Because half of 49 would be 24 and a half. So 25 is more than that. Yep. But 50, half is 25. You need more than that, so you go to 26. All right, if we use the plurality method, then we don't need to rank the candidates. The fact that I had strawberry in first place, followed by chocolate and vanilla, my chocolate and vanilla ranking didn't matter at all, right? We just looked at the fact that I had strawberry in first place. Okay, so when we use the plurality method, the rest of your rankings don't matter, right? We just record the top choice, which is what we do like in presidential elections. We just vote for our first place candidate. But for other voting methods, we rank all the candidates in something called a preference ballot, which is what you did just now. And then we can tally everyone's preference ballots in this preference schedule. Okay? So these are all the possible rankings you could have, right? So I had strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. So that's this ranking right here, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. So there's at least one there. Keep a little tally. Anybody else agree with me? Did anybody else have strawberry, chocolate, vanilla? Two more? Okay. So the way we make a preference ballot is you put the number of people that agree on strawberry, chocolate, vanilla at the top. Okay. All right. So could you raise your hand if you have chocolate, vanilla, strawberry? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And how about chocolate, strawberry, vanillas? 1, 2, 3. Vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. 1, 2, 3. Vanilla, strawberry, chocolate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And strawberry, vanilla, chocolate. 1, 2. Okay. So let's just make sure I counted everything right. What should the numbers across the top add up to? 22. Yeah. So 6 and 3 makes 9, and 3 is 12, and 5 is 17, and 3 is 20, 22. Good. So counted right. So this is called a preference schedule. This is how we summarize what all the preferences are in an election. Okay, so we're going to come back to this in a minute, but I think that we should look at the syllabus for a minute. All right, so apparently you all know when and where we meet since you're here. My office hours and studio hours are posted here. I also respond to email pretty frequently. You will get an automatic email response that says I might not write you back because of some contract negotiation things, but I will write you back. Okay, so don't freak out when you get that email. Textbook. Okay, so this is the first point of some confusion sometimes. The only thing you have to buy is a Mymathlab access code. You can buy it in the bookstore. It's just like a folder, and inside the folder is like a 16-digit code, I think. You can buy it in the bookstore, or you could buy that code directly from Pearson, okay, at that website. If you need to, if you're using financial aid to make your book purchases, you have to buy it from the bookstore. But if you're not, it is cheaper at the Pearson website. It's like just under $100 versus the bookstore's $130 or something. You do need a scientific calculator, $10, $15 at Staples. And then optionally, you can buy the physical book that you hold in your hands only if you want to. You don't have to, because the Mymathlab access code comes with a complete e-version of the textbook. So you have access to the textbook on your computer. So I'm going to show you, since we're talking about Mymathlab, I'm just going to show you what it looks like in case anyone hasn't used it before. So this is the main website. If you've used it before, you would just click sign in, and then you'll sign in, put in the course code, which is different from the access code. But you have this one-page sheet of paper with instructions for how to get started. Yes? Unless it was for the same exact course, then you have to buy a new one. Yeah. Yeah, if you're repeating the class, you don't have to buy a new one. All right, so I'm already set up here, so I'm just going to sign in so I can show you what Mymathlab looks like. All right, so once you're in, all the courses that you're taking with Mymathlab will appear on the left. It'll probably just be this one class, right? So we are Math 117, Mathematical Problem Solving, Spring 2016. All right, so this is your course home. You have a little calendar up here with important dates posted. There's a little blue dot on important dates. So this was an important date because this was the date that I made all of your homework available. So every single homework assignment is now posted. You can look at it. Your first due date is February 4th. Wanted to give you a little bit of time to get signed up and acclimated to the website. All right, so the main thing you're going to use here is the homework button. You click homework, and every assignment for the semester is posted. The due date is next to it. So you just go in and look at it. Just click on the assignment name when you're ready to start working on it. The other thing you might use is the gradebook. This is strictly for your homework grades. It's not like your grade for the class. So I have no results right now because I haven't done any homework. And then to get to the book, you just click chapter contents. So if you want to see the textbook, you go chapter contents. I usually just start by going into the table of contents. And I have to update Adobe Flash, so I can't show it to you. But that's how you get to it. All right, so that's the gist for Mymathlab. So the description of the class, it's designed to provide students in the liberal arts with a foundation of mathematical reasoning and quantitative skills, decision-making processes. So we're going to focus on ideas rather than techniques and implement some problem-solving strategies. Okay, so we'll talk about some really cool, interesting applications of mathematics, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, so how class is going to be run. So at the start of each class, there's going to be a brief opportunity to ask questions. I might be able to answer 1 or 2 homework questions each class. So if you have more than like a question, even if you only have 1 question, it's probably a good idea to come to my office hours before class. I have a 10 to 11 office hour before class, and I also have an office hour after class. So yeah, because if everybody has a different question, I won't be able to get to all of them. So come see me if you have questions. So after a question or 2, the rest of class is going to consist of a mixture of introduction to new material and individual and or group work to build familiarity with that material. At the end of each class, you get a homework assignment that will be due the next class. Attendance is really important, and the way I take attendance is just on these folders. So there's a folder on each table. You just put your name over one block, and then each time you're here, put a check mark next to the date. And if you need to change tables at some point in the semester, it's not a big deal. This doesn't lock you in. We can just move your name to another folder. Just know that ahead of time. Okay, if you do have to miss a class, try to let me know in advance. And it's your responsibility to learn the material from any class you missed. You have so many resources in that event because I record all my classes. So I'm recording right now. It records what I'm saying and everything that's being projected on the board. And then I post those in YouTube. And you can get there by going to our Moodle site. So this is our main Moodle site. Everything that I give you in handout form in class is posted on the Moodle site. And then there's a link to YouTube that takes you to our class video. So right now this playlist is empty because this is the first video. But each time we have a class, I'll add a video to the playlist. And then, so yeah, everything that you need if you miss a class is posted here in Moodle. So that takes me through one of our important resources, Moodle, right? But some other important resources are me and each other are going to be like your main resources. Get contact info from a few classmates, make some study groups, work on your homework together. You can meet in the math studio right over there. It's a nice, comfortable place to work. And it's staffed by GCC math instructors all day. You can use the peer tutors. It's a free service and they're really good. Smart Thinking is online professional tutoring. You can browse all my videos in YouTube. I don't know why you might want to do that, but you can. And then there's Mymathlab tech support and GCC tech support. So both of which are very responsive and can help you quickly if you have a problem. So if you have are in need of an accommodation, just let me know and we'll get that taken care of. And then your grade for the class is going to be based on participation / group work, homework, projects, and tests. So tests are 50% of your grade. There are going to be 3 tests over the semester. There is not a final cumulative exam. It's just a 3rd test, but we take it during the final exam block. So just 3 tests, and then there's going to be 3 projects. I'll give you the first project a little later today, and we'll talk about it. Homework 20%, it's all in Mymathlab, and you should still keep a notebook, though, with a record of all your work and your answers for a couple of reasons. One, if you need help from me or a classmate or an instructor in the studio or a peer tutor, they can look at what you tried and figure out where your misunderstanding is. And 2, though I've been using Mymathlab for 4 years, and I'll assure you that it has never happened that someone's work has like all just disappeared, it's good to have a paper backup, right? So if you just have it all in a notebook, that way if anything happens, you know, you'll have it all there and you can show it to me and I'll know you did all your homework. The due dates are all posted in Mymathlab. You can get help from anyone. And the cool thing about Mymathlab is you get unlimited attempts to get it right. Okay, so you can just keep trying and trying and trying. So you should have 100 for your homework, which is 20% of your grade. And then participation is just like you need to attend class, participate, contribute to the group and to the class, and you'll get a daily score for participation in group work out of 5 possible points. I'll drop 3 so you can be absent 3 times and it won't hurt you. All right, so for late work, you can submit your homework late. There's just a 10% penalty on whatever portion of the assignment was late. So if you only had if you had it all done by the due date except for 1 problem, you just get a penalty on that 1 problem. You can't miss participation if you're absent, but like I said, I'll drop the 3 lowest participation grades. Projects are accepted up to 1 week late for a 10% penalty. In general, you can't just not show up for a test. If you have like an emergency, contact me and we'll figure something out. Otherwise, it'll have to be a 0. Yeah, be honest. And then the last page is our schedule for the semester. So today we're doing our first class on voting. Pretty much every day when we start class, I'll pull up the schedule, remind us all where we are, what we're working on. And that's it. Okay, so any questions about the syllabus? Okay, let's jump back to our lesson then. All right, so we've got a preference schedule for the results of a math club election for president. And the candidates are Alicia, Boris, Carmen, and Dave, A, B, C, and D. Okay, so how many voters are there in total in this election? Thirty-seven, yeah. How do we get that? Added up all the numbers across the top. Yep. So 14 plus 10 is 24, plus 8 is 32, plus 4 is 36, plus 1 is 37. All right, so how many voters do we need to get a majority? 19, yeah. 19. You just take half of 37, and if you need a calculator to do it, that's not a big deal. 37 divided by 2 comes out to 18 and a half, but you need more than that, so 19 will get you a majority. So who wins if we use the plurality method, if we're just counting first place votes? Yeah, so let's see, how many first place votes does A have? 14. How many first place votes does B have? How about C? 11. Yeah, you gotta be a little careful here because these 10 people put C in first place, plus this one person put C in first place. So in total, 11 people had C in first place. And then how many people put D in first place? 8. Good. All right, so that means that A is the winner. All right, now what if I was going to rank these completely, like first, second, third, and fourth? A is first, right, because A won. Then C has 11, so C is next. Then D, then B. So we call that the complete ranking using the plurality method. Okay, so the plurality method seems easy enough to implement, but a major flaw is the ease with which the results can be manipulated by one voter or a block of voters through what's called insincere voting or tactical voting. In insincere voting, if you know that the candidate you really want has no chance of winning, then rather than waste your vote on your favorite candidate, you might cast it for a lesser choice, but that has a better chance of winning. So can anybody think of an actual situation where this may or may not have happened or may happen in the future? The 2000 election, yeah. Nader and Gore, is that what you're referring to? Yeah. A lot of people really liked Ralph Nader, but he has no chance of winning the election, so you vote for Al Gore. He's got a better chance of winning. All right, let's look at the math club election. Okay. How might some members have changed their vote to create a result more to their liking? So who would actually change their votes, and how would they change them specifically? Look at candidate A, right? Candidate A won, right? Those 14 people all have candidate A in first place. Where does everybody else have candidate A? Their last choice. So everybody else is like, candidate A looks like they're going to win, but we really don't like Alicia. Yeah.
All the D people switch their vote to C, which is their second choice.
Yeah. If that block of voters, these 8 people, if they got together, they could prevent candidate A from winning, right? They could say, you know, we really like candidate D, but candidate C is pretty good. They're our second choice. And if we vote for candidate C, Carmen will beat Alicia. Right? So that's what we could do. the 8 DCBA people could switch to CDBA. If they put C in first place, C is now going to win the election with 19 votes. Another problem we have with the plurality method is that it strongly encourages compromise voting, where you vote for the most acceptable or least unacceptable candidate who you feel has a chance of winning. Right? It's very closely related to tactical voting. So because of this, plurality methods tend to lead to a really entrenched two-party system, just like we have for the race for president. Right? There's typically just two parties that's all you can choose from. Because one person from one of those two parties is the most likely to win, so people are hesitant to waste their vote on a third party. All right, so given that we have a few drawbacks to the plurality method, we're now going to look at a completely different method for determining the winner of an election. It's called the board account method. It's used in the college football poll that ranks the top 25 teams in the country, and several other places too. I think it's used in the Heisman Trophy vote and maybe also the Oscars. Each candidate receives points for each vote they receive. If a candidate gets a last place vote, they get 1 point, 2 points for a next to last place vote, and so on. Okay, so if there are 4 candidates, a first place vote gets you 4 points, and a second place vote gets you 3, and 2, and 1. So let's see what happens with our math club election if we determine the winner using board account. All right, so I kind of like to just write the points right into the preference table. Okay, so there are 4 candidates here. So a first place choice gets you 4 points. Second is 3 points. Third gives you 2 points. And last place is 1 point. And every ballot that has you in first place gives you 4 points. So if I look at this first column here, that's 14 identical ballots. There were 14 people who voted A, B, C, D. So for every single one of those ballots, we have to give A 4 points. So that's 4 points for each one of every 14 ballots. How many points total is that? 56. 4 times 14. 4 points per ballot times 14 ballots, so that's 56 points. So I like to just write it right into the preference schedule. All right, and then B was in second place. So we're now going to take into account the rest of the rankings, whereas plurality only looked at first place. So candidate B, Boris, was in second place on 14 ballots. Each second place vote gets you 3 points. 14 times 3 is 42. So we give 42 points to Boris there. And then C is in third place. They get 2 points for each ballot, so that's 28 points. And D gets 1 point for each ballot. There are 14 ballots, so 14 points. Then we have to go through and do this for each pile of ballots. Okay, so we just do 4 points times 10, which gives me 40 points for C. 3 times 10 is 30. 2 times 10 is 20. And 1 times 10 is 10. And then 4 points times 8 ballots is 32 points for D. 3 times 8 is 24. 2 times 8 is 16. 1 times 8 is 8. And then 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. And then I have 4, 3, 2, 1 for that single ballot on the end. Then we add them all up. Okay, so like A, they have 56 plus the next column, they got 10 points. In the next column, they got 8 points. In the next column, they got 4 points. And in the last column, they got 1 point. So that's 56, 66, 74, 78, 79 points. And then we add these up for each candidate. B has 42 plus 30 plus 16 plus 16 plus 2. So that's 72, 82, 88, 98. 98 plus 6 is 104, 106 for candidate B. So C, we have 28 plus 40 plus 24 plus 8 plus 4. So that's 68, 78, 88, 92, 100, 104. And then D has 14 plus 20 plus 32 plus 12 plus 3. So that's 34, 66, 76, 78, 81 points. All right, so who's the winner? B. B wins with 106 points. So one little check you can do, it's really handy just to know that you didn't make a calculation mistake while you're doing board account, is think about how many people voted in this election? 37? 37 ballots, right? How many points does each ballot give out? Gives out 4 for first, 3 for second. Yeah, 10 total points. 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 gives you 10 points. There's 37 ballots, 10 points each. So we should be coming up with a total of 370 points in our election. So I'm just going to scroll back up a little bit and open my calculator. Just make sure I do this right. And I'm going to add up all the points that I gave to the 4 candidates. So I've got 79 plus 106 plus 104 plus 81, 370 points. So it's just a nice little check that you didn't make a mistake. All right, what's my complete ranking? B1, what's the rest of the ranking? C, then D, then A. B, C, D, A. Did the same person who won using Borda also win using plurality? No, who won using plurality? A, and now B won using Borda, right? So no. Plurality was A. Borda was B. So I guess that means that voting is just not quite as straightforward as we thought, right? We tally the winning. 2 different methods lead to 2 different winners. So the board account method was originally developed by Jean-Charles de Borda, 1770. He was a member of the French Academy of Sciences, and they used this method to elect its members until Napoleon forced them to change it. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the projects. You're going to submit 3 projects for this class. The due dates are in the calendar from the syllabus. For the first one, you're going to conduct your own election. You're going to draw up a preference schedule, summarize the votes, and figure out the winner of the vote according to each of 4 methods that we're going to learn. We learned 2 of them today. Okay. The other 2 will be covered next class. So I'm going to hand out project 1 now, just in case anybody wants to get started early. So just to give you an idea of what I'm expecting for the project, you have to just pick a question, anything you want, right? And it could be something like rank the following flavors of ice cream from best to worst, right? And then you give 4 options for people to rank. And then when you're thinking of your question, try to construct it so that you don't expect one of your choices to receive an overwhelming majority of the votes. Otherwise, it's really boring because all the methods will come out the same. And that's it. So be thinking about what you want your question to be. Yep. No, you're just gonna hand them in. So our first group activity is coming up, where you're just gonna work with some of the things we just learned about. But before you start it, I just want to make sure everybody's clear on what the homework assignment is. So if we just go a few pages forward. First, I'm going to point out that at the end of all group activities are the answers to the group activities. So as you work through them, you can check your answers. Okay. And then on the next page, learning objectives after class 1. So this first thing is a list of things that you should know how to do now that you've completed class 1. Reading and preparation for next class, what you should do to get ready for next class, and then a homework assignment. So your homework typically is going to consist of finish the activity we were working on in class, though I won't collect it. You just should do it so that you know what's going on. And then also the Mymathlab assignment. Then there'll be a list of some other things to do. For tonight, it's to read the syllabus, make sure you have the book and a calculator, and visit the class Moodle site. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have you get started working on the class activities. Voting activity number 1, and I'll kind of like circulate and answer questions. Yeah. No, it's just in Mymathlab. Yeah.